Today, I witnessed one of the most outrageous scenes of my life. A defenseless child with torn clothes and bare feet was dragged by two massive security guards out of a shopping mall playground while other children laughed. The reason? She didn't belong there. Her only crime was wanting to play like any normal child. But what happened next completely changed the course of that afternoon and will leave you speechless until the end of this video. I never imagined that discrimination could reach this level in the 21st century. I stood frozen for a few seconds, my heart racing as I watched that little soul being humiliated in front of everyone. Indignation took over me, and at that moment I knew I had to do something that would forever transform that child's life. What happened afterward, no one could have predicted, not even the mall owner, who was urgently called to the scene. Watch until the end, because this story will show you how a single action can change the course of an entire life. Before continuing with this unbelievable story, I want to invite you to grab a copy of our ebook, The Secret of the Rich: 7 Steps to Financial Abundance, available in the first pinned comment or in the description of this video. This special guide can make all the difference in your life, teaching you to evolve spiritually and achieve your physical, mental, and financial goals. And if you're not yet part of our community, take this opportunity to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and leave your like so you don't need to miss any of our upcoming stories of transformation and social justice. Now, let's return to this astonishing story that will show you the true meaning of humanity. It all started on a Thursday afternoon. I was at the food court of one of the city's most luxurious shopping malls, observing the bustle while enjoying my lunch. As I always do when I go out without being recognized, I wore simple clothes, a plain shirt, jeans, and a cap to hide my face. This is how I get to see the world as it truly is, without the filter that fame and money impose. For those who don't know me, I'm Mr. Millionaire, a businessman who decided to give new meaning to his fortune after realizing that accumulating money without purpose doesn't bring true happiness. Today, I dedicate my life to testing people's character and helping those who truly deserve it. My motto is simple but powerful. True wealth lies in who you are when no one is watching. And that's exactly what motivated me to act that afternoon. As I finished my lunch, I noticed some unusual movement near the mall's playground. A skinny boy, about 8 years old, with messy hair and worn-out clothes, had his face pressed against the glass separating the play area from the main corridor. His eyes sparkled as he watched the other children playing, laughing, and jumping on the colorful toys. It was a look of admiration, desire, and dreams. What happened next made me drop my fork immediately. The boy, driven by innocence and the simple desire to be a child, took advantage of the playground door being momentarily open as a family exited and slipped inside. He ran to one of the slides, climbing with a joy that seemed to light up his entire being. For a few seconds, he was just another child playing. It didn't take long for 2 burly security guards to notice his presence. One pointed, the other nodded. They marched toward the boy with determined steps while some mothers pulled their children away, as if poverty were contagious. The first guard grabbed the boy's arm, interrupting his slide down. "Hey, kid, this isn't a place for you. How did you get in?" The guard spoke loudly, drawing even more attention to the situation. The boy, frightened, tried to free himself, but the man gripped his arm tightly. "I just wanted to play a little. Just a little." The boy's voice was barely audible, choked by fear and shame. "Play? This is for customers, got it? For people who pay. Look at your state. You'll dirty everything." The second guard joined the first, and together they began dragging the boy out. Some children laughed and pointed. Others looked on, scared. Parents pretended not to see the scene, returning to their smartphones or superficial conversations as if nothing was happening. At that moment, something inside me exploded. I jumped up and walked quickly toward the playground. My heart was pounding, not with fear, but with indignation. This was more than discrimination. It was the denial of a child's humanity. "Stop, immediately." My voice echoed through the area, causing everyone to turn. "Let that boy go right now." The guards stopped, surprised by the intervention. The first one, still holding the boy's arm, looked at me with disdain. "Sir, don't interfere. We're just doing our job. This kid sneaked into the play area without paying." I stepped closer, controlling my anger. "And what's the price for him to play? Tell me." The second guard responded with superiority. "It's 100 rays for an hour of play, but this kind of kid can't come in here. Look at him. He's dirty, poorly dressed. He'll bother the other customers." "This kind of kid?" I repeated his words, feeling my blood boil. "What kind is that? A kid who smiles? A kid who dreams? A kid who just wants the right to be a kid for a few minutes?" By now, a small crowd had gathered around. I pulled out my wallet and took out several 100 Ries bills. "Here's 1,000 Ries. That's enough for 10 hours of play, right? And another 500 Ries so you can buy new clothes for him at the Children S store here in the mall." The guards exchanged confused glances. A supervisor approached, trying to understand the situation. "What's going on here?" "What's going on is a display of inhumanity against an innocent child," I replied, still holding the money. "I'm paying so this boy can play like any other child, and I expect him to be treated with the same respect." The supervisor, realizing the situation could turn into a scandal, especially with so many people watching and some already filming with their phones, tried to calm things down. "Sir, we understand your concern, but there are rules and—" "Rules?" I interrupted. "What rules are those that prevent a child from being happy for a few minutes? What rules teach discrimination and prejudice to other children? What kind of society are we building?" At that moment, I decided to reveal my identity. I took off my cap and looked the supervisor straight in the eyes. "My name is Mr. Millionaire, and I want everyone here to know what happened today." A murmur ran through the crowd. Some recognized my face from news reports and social media. The supervisor paled. "I have enough influence to make this incident go viral in a matter of hours. Imagine the headlines. Luxury mall expels needy child while customers watch. Is that what you want for this establishment's image?" The supervisor began to sweat. "Mr. Millionaire, please, let's resolve this civilly." "Civilly is exactly how I want to resolve it." I placed the money in his hand. "This money is so the boy can play here whenever he wants, and I want to speak with the mall's general manager right now." As the supervisor hurried off to fetch the manager, I crouched down to the boy's level. He was still trembling, frightened by the entire situation. "What's your name, buddy?" I asked gently. "Pedro," he replied in a low voice, almost a whisper. "Pedro, do you want to play in the playground?" His eyes lit up but quickly clouded with uncertainty. "Can I really?" "Of course you can. You have as much right as any child here." I took his small hand and led him back to the playground. Some others still looked on with suspicion, but their expressions now held more shame for their own prejudice than anything else. "Go play, Pedro. Enjoy every second." The boy hesitated for a moment, looked around as if he couldn't believe it, then ran to the slide with a smile worth more than all the money in the world. Don't forget to grab your copy of the e-book, The Secret of the Rich, 7 Steps to Financial Abundance, right now. Just click the link in the first pinned comment or the video description to access this transformative guide that, yes, helping thousands of people reach their maximum potential in all areas of life. The mall's general manager didn't take long to appear, visibly nervous about the situation unfolding at his establishment. He was a middle-aged man in an impeccable suit with a rigid posture. "Mr. Millionaire, it's an honor to have you at our mall. I deeply apologize for the inconvenience. If you could please accompany me to my office so we can discuss this privately." "No," I replied firmly. "We'll talk right here, where it all happened, where a child was humiliated for wanting to be just a child." The manager swallowed hard, glancing around and noticing the dozens of people watching the scene. "What happened here today is unacceptable," I continued. "This mall should be a space for everyone, not just those who can pay. The segregation I witnessed goes against all basic human values. Mr. Millionaire, I understand your indignation, but we have security protocols and standards to maintain for the comfort of our customers. Standards. I raised my voice, not in anger, but so everyone could hear. What standards are those? Pedro isn't less worthy because he doesn't have money. His soul is worth as much as any child playing here in designer clothes. I looked at Pedro, who was now having fun on the bounce house, timidly interacting with other children who no longer looked at him strangely. Do you know, Mr. Manager, where this boy comes from? Where he lives? What his story is? Have you ever wondered why he is alone in a mall on a weekday when he should be in school? The manager remained silent. I don't know either, I admitted, but I know that right now we're facing an opportunity to change a life, to show there's humanity in an increasingly cold and calculating world. I turned to the crowd, still watching us. How many of you ignored this boy before? How many turned away when you saw your security guards dragging him out? Your silence makes you complicit. Some people lowered their eyes, ashamed. Others began whispering among themselves. I want to propose something, Mr. Manager, I said, turning back to him. Starting today, this mall will create a social program. 1 day a week, children from underprivileged communities will have free access to this playground. Not as charity, but as a right. And I commit to funding this program for the next 12 months. A murmur of approval ran through the crowd. The manager, cornered by public pressure and an offer he could hardly refuse, nodded slowly. That's an excellent idea, Mr. Millionaire. I can assure you we'll implement the program as soon as possible. I don't want empty promises. I pulled out my phone. We'll formalize this now. My team will send a contract today, and I want it signed by tomorrow. The manager agreed, visibly relieved to find a way out of the situation. And what about the security guards who mistreated Pedro? I asked, looking directly at the 2 men who now stood at a distance, clearly uncomfortable. We'll take the necessary disciplinary measures. Rest assured. I don't want them punished, I replied, surprising everyone. I want them educated. I want them to participate in awareness programs about human and children's rights. They're not the problem. They're products of a system that values having over being. I walked toward the guards and extended my hand. After a moment of hesitation, they shook it, still confused by my attitude. You have an opportunity to be part of the solution, not the problem. From now on, you'll be the protectors of these underprivileged children when they come here, ensuring they're treated with dignity and respect. After another hour watching Pedro play, I approached him again. His face was lit up with the sweat of play and the joy he could finally express freely. Pedro, it's time to go. Already? He asked, disappointed. Yes, but you can come back whenever you want. It's all arranged. I took his small hand, and we left the playground. Several people greeted us along the way, some even asking to take photos, but I politely declined. That moment wasn't about me. Where are we going now? Pedro asked as we walked through the mall's corridor. First, we'll buy some new clothes for you. Then, I want to know more about your life. Where do you live? Do you have family? Pedro lowered his head. I live with my grandma in a small house nearby. My mom died last year, and I don't know my dad. My grandma works cleaning houses, but she's sick and can't work every day. My heart sank. Another story of struggle, another child facing hardships no child should endure. And school, Pedro? I used to go, but I stopped because I needed to help my grandma collect cans to sell. She can't bend down anymore. At that moment, I made a decision. This wouldn't be just another day of action as Mr. Millionaire. It would be the start of a real transformation in that family's life. Before continuing, I want to remind you watching to take this opportunity to subscribe to the channel, give that special like, and turn on the notification bell to receive all our updates. The Mr. Millionaire community is growing and transforming lives, and we want you with us on this journey of justice and humanity. After buying new clothes for Pedro, Nothing extravagant, just what he needed to feel good. We went to visit his grandmother. The address he gave led us to a small two-room house on the city's outskirts. The contrast with the mall's luxury couldn't have been starker. Donna Maria, Pedro's grandmother, was a frail-looking woman, but her eyes revealed strength and dignity. When we arrived, she was lying on a thin mattress on the floor, covered with a faded sheet. Seeing her grandson walk in with new clothes and accompanied by a stranger, she tried to get up, worried. "Calm down, Donna Maria," I said gently, approaching her. "My name is... well, you can call me Millionaire. I met your grandson today, and I'd like to talk to you." I explained everything that had happened at the mall. With each word, Donna Maria's eyes alternated between tears of gratitude and shame. "Sir, I'm sorry about Pedro. I always taught him not to take what isn't his, but he's just a child and—" "Donna Maria," I interrupted kindly, "Pedro did nothing wrong. He just wanted what every child deserves, to play, to smile, to be happy. You have nothing to be ashamed of." I asked about her situation. As Pedro had said, she worked as a house cleaner, but severe arthritis was worsening by the day, preventing her from working regularly. Without work, there was no money for medicine. Without medicine, the pain didn't improve. A vicious cycle of poverty and suffering. "Donna Maria, I want to help you, not as charity, but as an investment in Pedro's future and your health." I explained my work as Mr. Millionaire, my mission to test people's character and help those who truly deserved it. I told her about other similar cases I'd supported, always emphasizing that my help came with one condition. Those helped must commit to helping others when they could. "First, we need to take care of your health. Tomorrow, a doctor will come to examine you and will provide all the necessary medication. Second, Pedro needs to go back to school. Education is the only sustainable way to change realities." Donna Maria cried silently. "Sir, I don't know how to thank you, but I'm afraid of building expectations and then—" "You don't need to be afraid," I assured her. "I'm not promising what I can't deliver. We're in this journey together now." In the weeks that followed, significant transformations happened in Pedro and Donna Maria's lives. With proper treatment, her health improved considerably. Pedro returned to school, now with complete school supplies and a new uniform. Their house received basic renovations, a decent bathroom, a functional kitchen, proper beds. But the most important thing was creating a sustainable way for Donna Maria to generate income. We discovered she had a special talent for crafts, a skill she'd learned from her own mother years ago. We set up a small workshop in her home and began selling her pieces online. Don T. Forget to check out our ebook, The Secret of the Rich, 7 Steps to Financial Abundance, available in the first pinned comment or the video description. This guide can help you expand your financial and spiritual consciousness, just as it has helped thousands of channel followers transform their realities. 3 months after our first meeting, we returned to the same mall. This time, Pedro wasn't alone or poorly dressed. He walked with his head held high, holding his grandmother's hand, who now moved without visible pain. As promised, the mall had implemented the social program I proposed. Every Wednesday, children from underprivileged communities had free access to the playground. The same security guards who had once expelled Pedro now greeted the children with genuine smiles, having undergone a process of sensitization and education. We met the mall manager, who welcomed us enthusiastically. According to him, the social program had not only improved the establishment's image, but also increased customer traffic on social action days. People who previously avoided the mall for being too elitist now saw it as an inclusive space. "Mr. Millionaire," the manager said, "we have to thank you for the lesson you gave us. What started as a potentially disastrous situation turned into something wonderful for everyone involved." "Don't thank me," I replied. "Thank Pedro. He taught us, with his innocence and courage, what really matters." While Pedro played in the playground, now as an honored guest, I talked to several families present. Many shared how the program had positively impacted their children's lives, providing moments of joy that were previously inaccessible. One mother, in particular, moved me with her story. "My son has autism, and had never found a place where he could play without being judged. Here, with the new inclusion policies, he finally feels welcomed. His smile is worth more than anything." At the end of that day, we gathered all the children for a small celebration. Pedro, once shy and withdrawn, now led games and made friends easily. Donna Maria watched her grandson with pride, her eyes shining with the certainty that the future would be better. Before leaving, I asked for a moment to speak to everyone present: children, parents, mall staff, and curious onlookers who approached after recognizing Mr. Millionaire. "What we witness today is just the beginning," I declared. "Each of you has the power to transform realities, even if you don't have millions in your bank account, because true wealth lies in who you are when no one is watching." The words echoed through the space, touching hearts and minds. I saw tears on some faces, smiles on others, and above all, I saw hope, the most powerful force for transformation. In the months that followed, Pedro's case inspired several other initiatives. The mall's social program was expanded to other branches of the chain. Schools began developing inclusion projects based on the story now widely circulating on social media. Donna Maria became a symbol of resilience and overcoming. Her crafts gained national recognition, and she now employs 5 other women from the community, all in situations similar to hers before. Pedro continued studying diligently. His teachers report extraordinary potential, especially in math and science. His dream now is to become a doctor, to help people like my grandma, as he puts it. A year after our first meeting, we organized a large celebration at the mall. Hundreds of people attended to celebrate not only the transformation in Pedro and Donna Maria's lives, but also the impact their story had on the entire community. During the celebration, Pedro pulled me to a quiet corner, away from the spotlights and cameras. "Mr. Millionaire," he said with a seriousness unusual for his age, "when I grow up, I want to be like you." "What do you mean, Pedro?" "I want to help people. Show that everyone deserves a chance, that no one should be judged by what they have or don't have." I smiled, moved. "You know, Pedro, you're already doing that. Your story inspires people to be better, to see beyond appearances." He thought for a moment and then said, with the wisdom only children possess, "True wealth is in who you are when no one is watching, right?" "Exactly, Pedro, and you're living proof of that." Friends watching, this is just one of the many stories I have to share with you. Stories of transformation, justice, and humanity. If you were moved by Pedro and Donna Maria's journey, don't forget to leave your like, share this video, and subscribe to the channel to follow the next Mr. Millionaire missions. When I started this journey as Mr. Millionaire, many questioned my intentions. Why expose these situations? Why test people? Isn't this just marketing to gain followers? I confess that these questions made me reflect deeply on my purpose. The truth is, I was born into a wealthy family. I had everything money could buy: designer clothes, luxury cars, international trips. But something always bothered me, that feeling of emptiness, that something essential was missing, something money couldn't fill. It was after losing my father 7 years ago that my worldview completely changed. He, a man who built an empire from scratch, called me to his deathbed and said words I'll never forget. "Son, I spent my life accumulating wealth that now can't buy me one more day of life. Don't make the same mistake. Money only has value when it transforms lives for the better." At that moment, I realized I had inherited not just a fortune, but a responsibility, a mission. And that's how Mr. Millionaire was born, not as a social media persona, but as a life purpose. Pedro and Donna Maria's story isn't unique. I've met hundreds of Pedros and Marias along the way. Extraordinary people with pure hearts who just needed an opportunity, a chance, a hand extended at the right moment. I remember Carlos, a 67-year-old man selling candies at a traffic light to support his grandchildren after their mother died in an accident. When his small stock of candies was stolen, he cried not out of anger, but out of worry. How will I feed the kids today? Instead of just giving him money, we set up a small grocery store in his community. Today, 3 years later, he employs 5 people, and the children are all in school. Or Anina, a 12-year-old girl who cared for her 3 younger siblings alone while their mother worked 3 jobs. Her maturity and dedication deeply moved me. We secured full scholarships for her and her siblings and set up a sewing business for their mother, allowing her to work from home and spend more time with her children. Each of these stories taught me something valuable, something no business school or investment course could teach. I learned that true wealth isn't in the zeros in your bank account, but in the smiles we provoke, the tears of gratitude we witness, the lives we touch. And the most remarkable thing is how a single action can trigger a chain reaction of kindness. After Pedro's story went viral, I received messages from entrepreneurs, shopkeepers, and ordinary citizens inspired to create their own social inclusion initiatives. Shopping malls in 5 different states implemented similar programs. Schools began discussing the importance of empathy and respect for differences. That's why I insist on sharing these stories with you. It's not about showcasing my actions, it's about inspiring yours. Because each of you, regardless of your financial situation, can be an agent of transformation. You don't need millions to make a difference. Sometimes a simple smile, a word of encouragement, or an act of respect can completely change someone's day. And transformed days can become transformed lives. Think about the security guard who expelled Pedro. Initially, he could be seen as the villain of the story. But was he really? Or was he just someone following orders, conditioned by a system that values appearance and status? Today, that same guard is one of the biggest advocates for the social program. In his free time, he organizes soccer tournaments for children from underprivileged communities. This brings me to another important point. We judge too much and understand too little. We label people based on isolated actions without knowing their stories, their struggles, their daily challenges. How many times have you formed an opinion about someone without truly knowing them? We all have stories we don't tell, battles we fight silently, scars we hide. That's why empathy is so essential. Putting yourself in someone else's shoes isn't just a philosophical exercise. It is a human necessity. And on this path of empathy and understanding, we discover something extraordinary. By helping others, we're actually helping ourselves. There's a deep satisfaction, a soul-filling joy that no material achievement can provide. I've achieved a lot in life. I've had luxury cars, homes in different countries, dinners at Michelin-starred restaurants. But nothing, absolutely nothing, compares to the feeling of seeing Pedro Gisi smile as he played in that playground for the first time. Or the tears of gratitude in Donna Maria's eyes as she realized she was no longer alone in her struggle. And this is a wealth everyone can experience. You don't need to be a millionaire to feel this fullness. You just need to be willing to look beyond yourself, to extend a hand, to make a difference. Recently, I received a letter from Pedro. His handwriting is still childlike, but his words carry the depth of someone who has experienced both suffering and hope. He wrote, "Mr. Millionaire, when you helped me that day, I learned that people can be good even when they gain nothing in return. Now, whenever I can, I help my classmates at school. I share my snack, lend my pencils, explain lessons to those who don't understand. It's small, but it makes them smile. And when they smile, I smile too. Is that what you feel when you help people?" "Yes, Pedro. That's exactly what I feel. And that's what I want every person watching this video to feel too. Our world is undergoing profound transformations. We live in times of polarization, rampant individualism, and relentless competition. But I firmly believe there's a better path, a path of collaboration, empathy, and humanity. And every small action counts. Every gesture of kindness, every word of encouragement, every extended hand contributes to building a better world. Don't underestimate the power of your influence. You may not change the entire world, but you can change someone's world. As my father said in his final moments, life is too short to be wasted just accumulating. It's in giving that we find true meaning. And with that spirit, I invite you to reflect. What can you do today, right now, to make someone's life a little better? It could be something simple: calling a friend going through a tough time, helping an elderly neighbor with groceries, or sincerely complimenting a coworker. Small actions, big impacts. This is the essence of the Mr. Millionaire philosophy. And of course, if you want to dive deeper into this journey of personal and social transformation, don't forget to grab your copy of our exclusive ebook, The Secret of the Rich: 7 Steps to Financial Abundance. It's not just about financial strategies, though they are there, but about a new way of seeing wealth, success, and happiness. This transformational guide is available in the first pinned comment or the video description and could be the key to elevating your financial and spiritual consciousness to new heights. It is not just about money. It is about living a full and abundant life in every sense. Many followers have shared their experiences after reading this material. People who changed not only their relationship with money, but, more importantly, their relationship with themselves and others. Like Rodrigo, who wrote, "I always thought I needed to be rich to help others. After reading the ebook, I realized I could start immediately with the resources I already have. Today, I dedicate 4 hours a week to teaching computer skills to seniors at my neighborhood community center. The gratitude in their eyes when they manage to video call their distant grandchildren is priceless." Or Mariana, who shared, "The ebook made me question my true values and priorities. I realized I was working so hard to buy things I didn't even have time to use, while neglecting important relationships. I reorganized my life, cut unnecessary expenses, and now have more time for what really matters. And, curiously, I've never felt so prosperous." These are just a few of the thousands of transformation stories we receive daily, and this fills me with hope and gratitude. Hope that we're together building a movement bigger than ourselves, a movement of consciousness, humanity, and true abundance. Because true wealth, friends, isn't in having, it's in being. It's not in what we accumulate, but in what we share. It's not in appearances, but in essence. True wealth is in who you are when no one is watching. And, as I always say at the end of our encounters with the people we help, it is not about me. It is not about you. It is about what we can do together to make this world a better place for everyone. If you connected with this message, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video, spread this philosophy, be part of this movement. Leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to follow the next Mr. Millionaire missions. And most importantly, start your own mission today. Because each of us has the power to be a millionaire in our own way, rich in compassion, empathy, and humanity. Before we wrap up, I want to invite you once again to grab a copy of our exclusive ebook, The Secret of the Rich: 7 Steps to Financial Abundance. This transformational guide is available in the first pinned comment or the video description and could be the key to elevating your financial and spiritual consciousness to new heights. It is not just about money. It is about living a full and abundant life in every sense. Many of you might be wondering, why talk about financial abundance on a channel that addresses social issues? The answer is simple and profound. To transform the lives of others, we must first transform our own. And part of that transformation involves our relationship with money. The ebook, The Secret of the Rich, brings a revolutionary approach to prosperity. It's not about greed or reckless accumulation, but about creating a steady flow of resources that allows you not only to live well, but also to positively impact the world around you. After all, that's what I discovered on my journey as Mr. Millionaire. The more resources we have, the greater our ability to generate transformation. In the first chapter of the ebook, we address the mindset of abundance versus scarcity. Many of us grew up hearing phrases like, "Money is hard to earn," "The rich are always dishonest," or "We weren't born with a silver spoon." These limiting beliefs act as true anchors, keeping us stuck in a stagnant financial reality. The guide teaches you to identify and reprogram these beliefs, replacing them with an expansive and prosperous mindset. In the second chapter, we reveal the income streams that the truly wealthy create. While most people rely solely on their salary, the prosperous develop multiple sources of revenue: investments, side businesses, shared economy, monetized knowledge, and more. The ebook details each of these streams and shows how you can implement them based on your current reality. The third chapter is particularly transformative as it addresses emotional financial intelligence. We know that 80% of purchasing decisions are emotional, not rational. How many times have you spent money on impulse, to fill an emotional void, or to impress someone? The guide offers practical techniques to develop a healthy relationship with money, free from guilt, fear, or compulsion. In the fourth chapter, we explore the power of conscious investing. Saving money isn't enough. You need to make it grow. And that doesn't necessarily mean risking everything on high-risk investments. The ebook presents strategies for beginners and experienced investors, showing how to build solid wealth step by step, regardless of your starting point. The fifth chapter is dedicated to the power of digital assets. We live in the information age, where well-structured knowledge can generate passive income for years. Ebooks, online courses, mentorships, digital consultancies. The guide shows you how to turn your knowledge and experience into scalable digital products, just like I'm doing now with this ebook I'm sharing with you. The sixth chapter deals with creating a network of abundance. As the saying goes, tell me who you walk with, and I'll tell you who you are. The same applies to your financial prosperity. The social circle we cultivate directly influences our mindset and opportunities. The guide teaches you how to build and nurture strategic relationships that elevate your financial level, without manipulation or superficial interest. And finally, the seventh chapter, perhaps the most powerful, addresses the true purpose of wealth. Because without purpose, abundance loses its meaning. This is where we close the cycle, showing how to use your resources to make a positive impact on the world, just as I try to do every day as Mr. Millionaire. Each chapter of the ebook contains practical exercises, real examples, and techniques that can be implemented immediately. These are abstract theories or vague concepts. They reproven strategies I've used in my own journey and shared with thousands of followers. The transformative power of ebooks lies precisely in the democratization of knowledge. A few decades ago, valuable information about finance and investments was restricted to exclusive circles: investor clubs, traditional families, elite schools. Today, through a simple ebook, you have access to knowledge that can completely alter your financial trajectory. And more than technical information, what The Secret of the Rich offers is a new perspective on prosperity. A vision that combines material abundance with spiritual fullness, personal success with collective impact. Hundreds of followers have already shared their transformations after accessing this content. Like Luciana, who in just 6 months managed to pay off all her debts and start an online business that now generates more income than her old job. Or Roberto, who, by applying just 3 of the 7 strategies in the ebook, tripled his wealth in a year and now funds social projects in his community. Remember, financial education isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. In an increasingly complex economic world, understanding how money works and how to make it work for you is no longer optional. It is the difference between living a life of constant financial worry or experiencing the true freedom that abundance provides. And I'm not talking just about the freedom to buy whatever you want, but mainly the freedom to choose how to use your time, energy, and talents. The freedom to say no to opportunities that don't align with your values. The freedom to help those in need without compromising your own well-being. This is the freedom I've experienced, and that allows me to carry out actions like the one we did for Pedro and Donna Maria. Because when we achieve true abundance, our natural impulse is to share, to contribute, to multiply. This ebook is my way of sharing not only technical knowledge but a life philosophy that has the potential to elevate not just your finances, but your entire existence to a new level. Because true prosperity isn't measured only by your bank account, but by your ability to generate value for yourself and the world. Don't put it off. Grab your copy now in the first pinned comment or the video description. Invest in yourself, invest in your future, invest in your ability to transform realities, yours and those of many others. Because true wealth, as I always say, is in who you are when no one is watching. And this ebook could be the first step for you to discover the sleeping giant within you, capable of achieving not only financial prosperity but a life of purpose, fullness, and positive impact. Until the next video, where we'll continue testing hearts and transforming realities. This is Mr. Millionaire, reminding you that everything we do echoes into eternity. And never, ever forget, true wealth is in who you are when no one is watching. And speaking of the next video, I have a special surprise for you. Next week, we'll start a new series called Anonymous Heroes, where I'll travel across Brazil in search of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. People who, even without abundant resources, find creative ways to transform their communities. I've already been in touch with a teacher in the interior of Amazonas who turned her small classroom into a technology hub using refurbished computers. Or a bus driver in Salvador who created a circulating library system on his daily route, encouraging reading among passengers of all ages. These are stories that inspire, showing us that compassion and creativity know no financial or social limits. I'm particularly excited about this new series because it perfectly represents what I believe. We don't need to wait to have millions to start making a difference. We can start today with what we have, where we are, and I want to invite you to be part of this movement. Do you know someone in your community who deserves recognition? Someone who quietly works to improve others' lives without seeking the spotlight or rewards? Share their story in the comments or send it to our email. Who knows, maybe this person will be one of the next to be featured on our channel? I firmly believe that every shared story has the power to inspire dozens of other actions. It's like throwing a stone into a lake. The ripples spread far beyond the initial point of impact, and that's how we create a true revolution of kindness and compassion. Plus, we're preparing an in-person event for the end of the year, the Heart Millionaires meeting. It won't be an event for financially wealthy people, but for those rich in values, purpose, and humanity. We'll have inspiring talks, practical workshops, and, most importantly, the opportunity to connect people who share the same vision of a fairer, more compassionate world. Details about registration will be announced soon, so stay tuned for updates. The first 100 registrants will receive a signed copy of the physical book I'm finalizing, based on the most transformative experiences I've had as Mr. Millionaire. I'm also thrilled to announce that our Inner Wealth Foundation is officially registered and will begin operations next month. Through it, we'll institutionalize and expand the work we've been doing, creating sustainable social transformation programs in vulnerable communities across the country. The first initiative will be Playground for All, inspired precisely by Pedro's story. We'll partner with malls and commercial centers to ensure children from all social classes have access to safe and stimulating play spaces. Because playing isn't a privilege, it's a fundamental right of every child. But you know what really moves me? Seeing how the Mr. Millionaire community has grown not just in numbers, but in engagement. The number of messages I receive daily about actions inspired by our videos is simply overwhelming. Like the group of teenagers in Fortaleza who organized to renovate their neighborhood's abandoned square, turning it into a gathering space for seniors. Or the businesswoman in Sao Paulo who implemented an inclusive hiring program in her company, giving opportunities to people in vulnerable situations. Each of these stories is a testament that we're building something bigger than ourselves. And that's why I say, with a heart overflowing with gratitude, thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for watching, for sharing, for letting yourself be touched. But most importantly, thank you for acting, for being the change we want to see in the world. Because in the end, what will matter isn't how much we accumulated, but how much we impacted. It's not how much we earned, but how much we gave. It's not our fame or status, but the legacy of love and compassion we leave behind. And if there's one thing I've learned on my journey as Mr. Millionaire, it's that the greatest reward isn't in public recognition, likes, or channel growth, though all that is important to amplify our message. The true reward is in that intimate, private moment when we look into the eyes of someone whose life has been transformed and see the reflection of our own humanity. That's why I'll keep testing hearts and transforming realities. I'll keep believing in the human potential for good, even when the evidence seems to point otherwise. And I'll keep reminding myself, and all of you, that our value isn't in what we possess, but in who we are. That's the essence of Mr. Millionaire. That's the invitation I extend to each of you. May we together rediscover the true meaning of wealth, success, and happiness. Until the next video, where we'll continue testing hearts and transforming realities. This is Mr. Millionaire, reminding you that everything we do echoes into eternity. And never, ever forget, true wealth is in who you are when no one is watching.